Welcome, traveler. Tonight, the neon glow of early 90s Tokyo guides you gently toward rest. You are Satoshi Kimura, 47 years old, senior lost property clerk for the sprawling labyrinth beneath Shinjuku Station. It is March of 1991. A chilly dawn just after cherry blossom buds have begun to open along the avenues above. Close your eyes and slip into Satoshi's pressed gray uniform, its cotton still carrying the faint scent of starch from last evening's ironing. Feel the cool underground air brush your cheeks as you descend a short flight of tiled steps, each footstep echoing in the quiet concourse before the morning rush. Your heavy ring of station keys taps softly against your hip. Each worn brass tooth will soon open storerooms filled with umbrellas, wallets, Walkman cassette players, and forgotten pieces of other people's lives. Breathe in slowly. A hint of brake dust lingers from the first maintenance train that rumbled through an hour ago, mingling with the comforting aroma of canned Georgia coffee heating on a back-office warmer. Somewhere far down the darkened platform, an electronic departure chime plays its gentle four-note melody, followed by the recorded announcement of a train bound for Tachikawa. Overhead, fluorescent tubes flicker awake one by one, bathing the corridor in soft white light that glints off rows of coin lockers and polished handrails. You push open the metal door marked "Lost and Found," its hinges sighing like a sleepy commuter. Inside, cardboard boxes labeled by date line the walls, each holding the day's harvest of misplaced belongings. Vinyl umbrellas bundled with elastic bands, pastel school bags adorned with cartoon charms, tidy envelopes of yen, pagers that will buzz unanswered until their owners realize what's gone. On a neat wooden desk sits today's blank ledger, paper crisp under your fingertips. A rubber date stamp waiting beside a pot of vermilion ink. Take another slow breath, letting the steady hum of distant ventilation fans settle your mind. In this quiet pocket below the city, your gentle routine is about to begin, and with it, a calm journey that will carry the listener and you toward peaceful sleep. The station clock above your door blinks to 4:43. In these first minutes of duty, you move with unhurried precision, the practiced choreography of countless dawns. You begin by sliding the steel bolt on the returns cage, a grated alcove where night shift attendants deposit items swept from last trains. The bolt glides with a muted shunk, and cool air carrying a faint whiff of brake fluid meets your face. Inside, 4 shallow plastic tubs wait in orderly rows. Umbrellas, vinyl, 21 of them, droplets still clinging to their clear plastic canopies. Handbags and briefcases, 7, outer leather cool and slightly dewy. Small electronics, 3 pagers, each blinking a red message light, 1 ivory pocket translator, a lone Game Boy whose battery light flickers weakly. Miscellaneous, a knitted scarf patterned with pink sakura petals, 1 half-finished bento, and a tiny orange notebook no larger than your palm. You lift each umbrella by its hook handle, the plastic softly crack against the others, and slide it into the tall rolling rack by the door. When the rack is half full, it gives off the comforting scent of vinyl and rainwater, Shinjuku's signature perfume on stormy days. Next, you turn to the cedar ledger cabinet. Yesterday's hardbound volume, its edges gently frayed, lies waiting for final stamping. You uncap the vermilion ink pad, press the rectangular shuniku seal into the soft surface, and feel a tiny resistant give. ink saturating the carved kanji that read, "Received, Shinjuku lost property." Each entry gets its mark. Thunk, thunk, thunk. A heartbeat slow rhythm. 43 items documented and sealed away, ready for their 7-day countdown before transfer to the Metropolitan Police Center in Itabashi. JR East Regulation 16B rolls through your mind, as familiar as the platform melodies. After the 7th calendar day, unclaimed articles shall be dispatched in numbered crates by 2000 hours. Your stomach registers its own early hour. From the side counter, you retrieve a warm can of Georgia Original. The aluminum hisses faintly when you crack the pull tab, releasing a puff of sweet coffee and caramel steam. You wrap both palms around the can, letting heat seep into your fingers while fluorescent lights overhead settle into their full glow. No more flicker, just steady calm. Outside the office door, the concourse remains hushed, but a distant escalator motor starts its low growl, signaling the station's gradual reanimation. You take a final sip, then slide open a shallow drawer that holds triplicate carbon forms: white, pink, yellow. Fingertips brush the silky blackness of unused carbon paper as you count out 20 sets for the coming rush, placing them in a tidy stack beside 3 sharpened HB pencils and the rotary date stamp now clicked to 13th March, 1991. Before commuters arrive, you complete one silent patrol. Keys jingle. Your shoes tap a patient beat on terrazzo tiles. Past the shuttered kiosks you walk, noting the first vending machine hum, the faint floral scent of fresh newspaper ink drifting from a delivery cart. At Locker Bank, B14, you pause to check timers. 2 units flash expired. Time since paid rental has lapsed overnight. You twist your master key, lift the metal door, and retrieve a slim attaché case. Standard procedure. Record, tag, store. Another soft footstep routine, another item entering your gentle custody. Back inside, attaché in arms, you glance at the station clock again. 5:27. A pre-rush hush still blankets the platforms, broken only by the distant series 205 train rumbling in from Mitaka for a maintenance loop. The vibration reaches the office walls like a cat's slow purr. You clip a white tag to the attaché handle. Note, silver, 2-combination lock, stickers, ANA luggage tag, then settle it on the Today Briefcases shelf. The shelf wood is smooth from years of similar placements, edges rounded by repetition. At 5:45, a soft ping from the concourse speakers signals the first passenger announcement of the day. The familiar female voice intones politely, "Rush hour preparation. Please stand clear of platform lines." The words float through your open doorway, bringing with them the faint rustle of early commuters and the crisp click of leather soles. Your calm dawn window is closing, and that is fine. Everything is in order. You close yesterday's ledger, tie it with a linen band, and slide it into the archive shelf. Today's blank volume lies open, first line waiting. You rotate your shoulders once, slow and easy. Take a final comforting breath of coffee and faint carbon ink, and smile to yourself. The city above stirs. The river of people is about to flow, and you, steady stone in its current, are ready. The minute hand sweeps towards 6, and the hush collapses into a gentle stir. A faint tremor rolls through the floor as the first commuter train breaks into platform 5. Metallic wheels squeal, air doors sigh, and your office window vibrates with the weight of early purpose. You unhook a narrow slot in the counter, your service hatch, and the morning rush begins. A river of black and gray suit fabrics flows past, umbrellas tucked like sheathed swords. Condensation beads on their vinyl canopies and drips onto the terrazzo, tiny ticking sounds lost beneath station announcements. Most pass without a glance, but one salaryman breaks from the current. A precise man in rimless glasses, whose briefcase is held less like baggage than an extension of himself. He bows, just a fraction deeper than etiquette demands, and produces a claim slip scribbled hastily in ballpoint. Commuter pass. Magnetic, he murmurs. His voice carries the fatigue of a morning that began too early. You retrieve the slim oyster-colored card from yesterday's top drawer tray. Magnetic stripe dull, edges slightly burred from thousands of gate insertions. The man's shoulders release a held breath, as if a spring has been eased. He presses both palms against the counter's edge in gratitude. This card, without it I cannot be reimbursed, he confides, as though revealing a private shame. You nod, stamp the pink receipt copy claimed in vermilion ink, and push the card toward him with two hands, a gesture of respect. His bow is deeper this time, and he blends once more into the gray river. Two vinyl umbrellas follow, clear plastic with pale blue handles. Their owners arrive together, giggling office juniors who trade whispered theories about whose umbrella was left first. You note the serial stickers, confirm ownership, and watch the women depart arm in arm, umbrellas twirling like transparent pinwheels. By 6:20, envelopes start appearing through the hatch. Forgotten wage packets delivered by train staff, each sealed and rubber-banded to a carbon form. You weigh them on a brass scale. Coins clink softly while the pointer hovers. Amounts noted, envelopes slip into the lockbox to await picture ID claimants who will arrive pallid with worry later in the week. A low electronic bloop 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 rises from the electronics shelf. 3 pagers, aligned like patient dominoes, display intermittent amber digits. At 6:32, the owner of the first arrives, a university researcher in a corduroy jacket smelling faintly of chalk dust. She gasps when she hears the device's frantic chirp, mutters an apology to no one in particular, then bows repeatedly as you present the pager in a small felt tray. She signs the yellow carbon sheet with quick angled strokes before vanishing into the thrumming concourse, clutching the beeping plastic as though it were a living chick. Platform melody drifts in. Haru no Ogawa, a twinkling 4-note scale that signals doors are closing on the Chuo Rapid Line. The tune overlaps the rhythmic tap-tap of carbon forms being pressed under your hand. Its repetition becomes a lull, a subtle cradle for the mind even amid movement. At 7:10, a schoolgirl appears, ponytail swishing, uniform impeccable save a missing Walkman that she describes with rehearsed precision. Sony WMF202 yellow Yumi Matsutoya tape. The device rests in your electronics bin, still hosting the cassette. Side A paused in the middle of Haruyo Koi. You rewind a few seconds to reassure her the tape is unharmed, the reels whirring like tiny windmills. Tears threaten until she hears that familiar music in her headphones. She mouths arigato twice, pays the modest handling fee in coins, then scurries away, song already restoring her morning equilibrium. You log each transfer with steady strokes, the pencil tip rasping across paper in a sound as soft as distant brush on silk. Between claimants, you straighten umbrella tips, align pagers, and sip another can of Georgia. This time, European blend, marginally stronger. Sweet caramel aroma mixes with ozone from a freshly vacuumed corridor. At 8 sharp, the employee circulation builds to its crest. 2 station attendants wheel in a gray bin filled with objects swept from overnight trains. Neckties, coin purses, a paperback pulp detective novel with edges curled. You greet them with a curt nod, accept the transfer docket, and begin triage. A foreigner, the first of the day, leans through the hatch at 8:15. Blonde hair, conference badge clipped askew, voice tight with worry. Camera, small, Konica, maybe left in locker. You invite him to describe the attached strap and the last frame shot. He recalls Shibuya crossing, nighttime long exposure. That detail unlocks the memory of the Konica you placed on the upper shelf. Black body, rainbow woven strap. His grin widens as you return it. Relief rolls off him like steam from fresh rice. He offers a box of Hawaiian macadamia chocolates, a token you record as gift, non-cash per guidelines, then departs, camera safe. By 9 o'clock, the torrent slows to a steady trickle. You take the lull to file earlier forms. White copy to station archive, pink to precinct courier tray, yellow retained for evening reconciliation. Carbon paper smudges the side of your hand. You wipe it with a soft cloth and replace the stack, aligning the corner ruler straight. A final vignette before the mid-morning lull. An elderly woman in sakura-patterned haori, retrieving her granddaughter's kimono obi, accidentally left on the Yamanote line after yesterday's graduation rehearsal. She bows so deeply that the top of her gray bun nearly touches the counter. You assure her no fee is required for items of sentimental value, an unofficial kindness permitted by unwritten rule. The silk obi, blush pink and gold-threaded, slides back into her care. She whispers blessings on your health and shuffles away, carrying springtime in folded fabric. The station PA shifts to announce the arrival of an out-of-service train. Mechanical ventilation above your door sighs into a slower pulse. You glance at the wall clock, 10:02. Morning rush complete, ledgers 3 pages richer, umbrella rack half empty, and the day's gentle chaos neatly contained. You exhale, shoulders loosening. The next act, lunch hour lull, awaits. But for a moment, the office hums with the quiet satisfaction of order restored. The steady flow of claimants thins, and by 11:30, the corridor outside your door echoes again with that earlier spaciousness. Footfalls scattered, voices softened. Fluorescent tubes overhead hum at a level your ears scarcely register anymore. A neutral blanket of sound. You close the service hatch, slide the brass latch to its midday position, and stretch. Arms overhead, shoulders rising, neck easing from its small forward tilt. The wall clock ticks to 11:35. Time for the ritual pause that keeps your long shift in balance. You lock the day's cash box, nestle it beneath the desk, and step into the staff passageway. The air feels a few degrees cooler here, scented faintly by the soap used on station floors at dawn. You pass a bank of coin lockers. Their steel doors wear thin scratches from decades of keys, and the indicator lights on 2 units glow red. Rental expired. You make a mental note of the numbers, B1422 and B1423, to check after lunch. For now, the clack of your shoes on linoleum leads you toward the break room. Inside the compact staff lounge, no larger than a train car, 3 plastic chairs flank a laminate table marked by countless ring stains. A small television perched on a metal shelf shows NHK Noon News. The newscaster's polite cadence floats beneath the hiss of the hot water dispenser. The Nikkei index scrolls across the bottom of the screen, digits sliding downward. But market worries feel distant in this fluorescent cocoon beneath Tokyo's streets. You set a styrofoam cup noodle, curry flavor, on the table. Peel back the lid. Curly dried noodles wait like coiled springs. You press the hot water lever. Steaming water cascades, releasing aromas of turmeric and fried onion. A plastic spoon strikes the cup's inner wall with a muted ping as you stir. You place the paper lid back over the cup and rest your watch atop it. 3 minutes, precisely. While noodles soften, you take a seat opposite Mr. Nakata, a track maintenance foreman finishing his own bento of mackerel and pickled radish. Minimal words pass between you. Only the nod of shared routine. The television segues into weather. Mild afternoon, chance of showers after 7. You tuck that information away. Evening commuters often misplace umbrellas when the forecast promises dryness, and then betrays them. A gentle aromatic cloud escapes as you lift the cup noodle lid. Steam drifts upward, fogging your glasses momentarily. You blow across the surface, flicking the spoon rhythmically. Rustle of noodles, clink of styrofoam against plastic. The first bite is a small luxury. Salty, warm, slightly sweet curry broth coating your tongue, the texture of softened ramen strands sliding easily down your throat. Each bite is followed by a sip of cool barley tea from a stainless bottle. To your palate, the alternating temperatures create a quiet pulse of comfort. Conversation in the lounge remains hushed. 2 cleaning staff consult a clipboard of assigned platforms, speaking in clipped whisper. Somewhere, a pager chirps, is silenced. You read the day's Yomiuri Shimbun snippets about the new JR East Suica pilot, an electronic ticket card rumored to replace magnetic passes before decade's end. You imagine the stacks of lost plastic cards that may await future clerks, each embedded with data rather than ink. Change is inevitable, you think, but lost items and the need for someone to shepherd them will endure. At precisely noon, you rinse the empty cup, deposit it in the burnable waste bin, and wipe the table ring with a damp cloth. On your way out, you pause by the bulletin board to initial tomorrow's roster, confirming your next shift will begin at the same quiet hour before dawn. The act feels reassuringly circular. Back in the concourse, you pause at locker bank B14. The 2 expired lockers blink patiently. You insert the brass supervisor key, twist, and swing open door 22. Inside sits a slim attaché wrapped in bubble wrap and sealed with green tape labeled Mitsubishi Design Department. Door 23 yields a paper shopping bag, its contents a single unopened box of Shiroi Koibito biscuits from Hokkaido. The box emits the faint vanilla scent of langue de chat cookies, likely a souvenir forgotten by a weary traveler. You lift both items carefully, balancing the attaché against your hip, the bag swinging lightly by its cord handles. Returning to the office, you tag each with white cardstock. Date, locker location, brief description. The attaché receives a note. Design prototypes. Do not X-ray, per the printed warning on its tape. You log the finds in the ledger, pencil strokes soft, deliberate. Another small segment of the city's narrative now rests in your custody. With midday duties complete, you reopen the service hatch. The office clock reads 1:02. The long afternoon stretch has begun. A deeper hush settles over the platforms. Commuters disperse to offices, school children in class. In this lull, the umbrella rack stands still. Pagers cease their blinking, and the gentle hum of fluorescent lights again becomes the loudest voice. You breathe in, catching a lingering whisper of curry spice, mingled with musty paper, and settle comfortably into the patient rhythm of sorting, waiting, and returning, ready for whatever curiosities the afternoon will carry in on the rails. The quiet stretch after lunch feels almost suspended in time, the pulse of the station reduced to a slow, even heartbeat. You slide the service hatch only halfway open, wide enough to greet the rare mid-afternoon visitor, narrow enough to preserve the cocoon of stillness inside your office. At 13:15, you wheel the gray bin from the morning transfer beneath the overhead lamp, its soft glow turning bubble wrap into tiny constellations. First comes electronics duty. You lift each item with deliberate care, placing it on a felt pad, 3 pocket bell pagers, a pewter-gray Sharp pocket dictionary, and a lime-green Game Boy still wearing a faded sticker of Mario. From a low drawer, you draw a sheet of anti-static bubble wrap. The plastic crackles gently as you unroll it, and nest each device inside a labeled compartment tray. Soft, furf bursts of air escape the bubbles under your fingertips. When the tray is full, you slide it onto shelf 3E, the quiet thunk of plastic meeting wood echoing lightly in the room. Next, the small valuables tray. An orderly row of craft envelopes awaits on the brass post office scale. You lift the first, weighty with the jingle of metal, then nudge the scale's sliding poise bar until the pointer kisses 0. Each new envelope settles with a muted rustle, the pointer's micro-oscillations gradually stilling. Even the scale seems to breathe slower in this afternoon lull. Umbrella duty follows, rope hiss and knot pull. You gather the morning's clear vinyl fines, align their handles like tidy reeds, then loop sisal twine around the bundle. With each pull, the rope fibers slide against plastic in a calming shh rhythm. You cinch a final square knot and tag the bundle 0313U15 before wheeling it to the umbrella corral by the door. At 2:05, the phone rings, an old rotary model whose dial whirs with comforting inertia. You lift the receiver, bowing instinctively even though no one can see, and answer in formal Keigo. Shinjuku lost and found. Kimura speaking. How may I assist? A soft female voice explains she has misplaced a string of pearls, likely on the Chuo line. You ask for distinguishing marks, listening to the faint clatter of office keyboards at her end. When she mentions a tiny rose gold clasp shaped like Mount Fuji, your mind locates yesterday's catalog card. You slide open the jewelry drawer, confirm the clasp under the loop, and reassure her the necklace is safe. The sigh that leaves the handset is almost a lullaby. Minutes later, the Swedish tourist arrives. Tall, wind-flushed cheeks, camera strap hanging hopefully around his neck. You recognize the woven rainbow pattern at once and retrieve the konica from the upper shelf. His eyes brighten as though someone has switched on a studio light. Payment is not required. Cameras are reclaimed free under JR policy. But he presses a box of macadamia chocolates into your hands anyway. The waxed paper squeaks pleasantly. You note the gesture in your ledger as courtesy gift, non-cash, and wave him on his way, chocolates tucked beside your ledger. The afternoon proceeds in gentle pulses. A printmaker stops by to collect a portfolio tube. Together, you admire the decal edges of her handmade washi before she departs. A rotary dial call from Ikebukuro queries a lost pager. You locate it by its distinctive cracked screen corner. The controlled repetition, locate, log, reassure, return, forms a calming mantra. At 1540, a faint vibration trembles through the floorboards. Rush hour advance units coasting into sidings, preparing for the evening swell. You stand, roll your shoulders once, and complete a brief inventory sweep. Pagers silent, umbrella racks stable, valuables logged. Outside the open hatch, the concourse lights brighten by a subtle notch as automatic sensors anticipate twilight. By 1625, you seal the electronic tray with pastel tape, stack the weighed jewelry envelopes in the vault drawer, and tie the final umbrella bundle. The office breathes order. Pencil shavings scent the air. Fluorescent hum settles into background hush. You glance at the wall clock. Nearly 4:30. Afternoon sorting is done, and the gentle crescendo of the early evening rush approaches, ready to carry you into the next rhythm of returns and reunions. A faint metallic chime at 1700 marks the beginning of the commuter surge. The sound is softer than a bell, more a bright ping echoing down tiled halls. In moments, the corridor outside your hatch thickens with hurried footsteps, heel clacks and sneaker squeaks converging into one restless river. You slide the service window fully open, adjust your collar, and welcome the evening wave. First comes a young office worker, breathless, tie loosened, cheeks still pink from a sprint up escalators. He produces a locker claim, briefcase, black, contains salary paperwork. You recognize the Mitsubishi labeled attaché retrieved at midday. The man's shoulders collapse with relief as you hand it over. He bows lower than 45 degrees. Gratitude, exhaustion, embarrassment folded into one motion. Ledger entry, signature, soft stamper thunk. Another reunion complete. The hatch hardly closes before a trio of pagers arrive in chorus, buzzing inside the electronics bin like agitated cicadas. Owners appear almost instantly, drawn by the vibration echoing through briefcases and coat linings. Each pager's tiny LED flashes crimson urgency. Each owner's face mirrors that tiny flare until the device is returned, at which point tension dissolves into sheepish laughter and repeated thanks. Umbrellas form a minor tide. Sudden drizzle outside has caught commuters off guard. Handles, clear vinyl, and occasional plaid cloth pile onto your counter. Claims pour in. Serial sticker matched. Owner verified. Umbrella released with a polite nod. The rack thins rapidly, plastic canopy edges brushing with a gentle crackle. You note how rain raises the station's humidity, softening the musty paper scent into something almost earthy. Around 6 p.m., an unusually heavy briefcase thuds onto the counter delivered by a platform attendant. Inside, you discover stacks of carefully wrapped wagashi sweets and, wedged between them, a handwritten love letter sealed with a heart sticker. Moments later, its frantic owner appears, a weary salaryman in a pinstriped suit, still damp with rain. When you present the case, he flips the latches, checks the letter is intact, and exhales as though releasing a week-long breath. His voice catches. Koreganai tu. Proposal tonight. Without this, he could not propose. He bows 3 times, whispers, "Honto ni arigato," and disappears into the rush, clutching future happiness in a metal case. By around 7 o'clock, the surge begins to ebb. You finalize the day's count sheet. Pagers 3, umbrellas 46, valuables 9, miscellaneous 17. Each number penciled, each column aligned. You peel the top white layer, slide it into the station archive folder. The pink duplicate goes to the precinct courier tray. You stack brown courier boxes on the dispatch cart, today's unclaimed property bound for the Metropolitan Police Depot in Iidabashi. You fasten nylon straps, tugging until the ratchet clicks firm, then affix barcoded tags 0313-elect, 0313-UMB, 0313-miss. The cart rolls away in the care of a uniformed porter, wheels humming against linoleum like a distant train. With traffic dwindling, you dim one of the overhead fixtures. Warm fluorescent tones soften shadows, coaxing the office into evening calm. You wipe counters with a lavender-scented cloth, straighten triplicate forms, sharpen 3 HB pencils down to crisp points, then align them parallel beside tomorrow's blank ledger. You rotate the brass sign in your window from currently serving to closed. A final commuter rushes up as the sign turns. She waves a ticket stub, fear flickering. Lost passport, Canada, blue. Compassion overrides close-in. You reopen the hatch, search the valuables tray, and within minutes, place the Navy booklet in her trembling hands. Tears brim, relief enough to quiet a day of panic. She whispers a shaky thank you, scrawls her name on the yellow receipt layer, and backs away with repeated bows, before vanishing into the settling crowd. The corridor calms. Departure chimes stretch longer between trains. The echo of hurried steps fades to scattered taps. You power down the stamp heater, slide ledger and cash box into the safe. Twist the dial. Click, click, clack. Keys jingle one last time as you lock the office door behind you. Outside, the platform melody Omoide no Mori plays its tender motif. You pause, letting the gentle electronic notes wash over fatigue like a lullaby. Neon reflections ripple on rain-sheen tiles, turning puddles into tiny shimmering mirrors. You inhale damp air laced with faint perfume, exhale the day's last obligations, and step onto the nearly empty escalator heading for your own homebound train. Behind you, the lost and found sleeps. Boxes neatly labeled, lights dimmed, ready to wake again at dawn. Ahead, the evening city murmurs under sodium lamps, its sea of umbrellas now folded, its commuters drifting toward dinners, televisions, dreams. You feel content, as steady, ordered, and gentle as the ledger pages you will open, again, come morning. You step onto the Chuo Rapid line just after 8, the orange and silver carriage humming like a subdued lullaby. Inside, overhead, fluorescents glow in muted rows, their light softened by the drizzle that still freckles the windows. You choose a sideways seat near the door and place your satchel on your lap, hands resting atop its worn leather. The doors hiss closed, and the train glides forward, a steady vibration rising through the soles of your shoes and settling into your bones like a slow heartbeat. Across the aisle, a pair of university students lean together over a single manga volume, turning pages with exaggerated silence, trying not to disturb the carriage hush. A middle-aged office worker farther down has dozed upright, chin tucked against his tie knot, briefcase balanced between polished shoes. The rhythmic clack of rails beneath the carriage knits these small scenes together, each person cocooned in their own dusk-colored thoughts. Outside the window, neon signs slide past in streaks of pink and green, reflected faintly on the rain-speckled glass. A moment later, the shapes of low apartment blocks replace storefronts. Their balconies glow with laundry room bulbs, each little square of light revealing a glimpse of evening life. A kettle lifted, a child brushing teeth, a cat stretching on a windowsill. You watch these domestic vignettes drift by like soft lanterns on a river, and feel the day's remaining tension ebb. You reach into your jacket pocket and draw out a small black notebook, the first pages still blank. With a mechanical pencil, you jot today's curiosities in tidy columns. Silver attaché, design prototypes. Rainbow strap Konita camera, reunited. Umbrellas claimed 46. Love letter rescue. Proposal tonight? The simple act of recording brings gentle closure. The ledger at work captures data, but this pocket notebook gathers moments that matter only to you. You cap the pencil, slide the notebook away, and allow your shoulders to settle against the seat back while the carriage rocks. At Nakano, the doors sigh open, and a faint gust of wet night air swirls inside, carrying the scent of yakitori smoke from an unseen stand. A group of salarymen boards, laughter muted by fatigue. They cluster near the opposite door, their conversation a low murmur punctuated by polite chuckles. The doors close, the laughter fades to whispers, and the train eases forward again, gathering a soft, unhurried momentum. The conductor's calm voice floats from overhead speakers, announcing Narima, your stop, 3 minutes ahead. You slip the notebook back into your pocket, tighten your satchel strap across your chest, and rise before the gentle deceleration begins. As the carriage slows, reflected city lights lengthen across the floor like strands of luminous thread, weaving between passengers' feet. Stepping onto the platform, you feel the cooler open air kiss your cheeks. Rain now reduced to a mist that settles almost invisibly on your coat. The station here is quieter than Shinjuku's underground maze. Announcements echo faintly beneath a high roof, and your footsteps form a steady counterpoint as you move toward the ticket gates. You pass through with a simple tap. The magnetized card reclaimed hours earlier now echoes in your memory, and ascend a short staircase to street level. The sidewalk glistens under street lamps, each puddle holding an upside-down moon. You breathe in the scent of damp asphalt and distant noodle broth carried from a late-night ramen shop. The walk home is familiar, yet always a small discovery. Tonight you notice cherry buds along the canal already swollen with promise, droplets clinging to their tips like tiny pearls. Your apartment building rises modestly at the end of a narrow lane lined with cycling racks. You unlock the front door, nod to the ever-drowsy concierge dozing behind the desk, and climb 4 flights of softly creaking stairs. The key turns in your lock with its usual reassuring clack, and you step inside. Warmth greets you, trapped heat from the day, and the faint lingering aroma of roasted barley tea. You slip off shoes, exchange damp coat for a house jacket, and set your satchel on the low table beside the window. Outside, city lights shimmer between the branches of a Zelkova tree, their glow softened by mist. Inside, only the small lamp on your desk provides a pool of amber light. You fill the kettle, its thin stream of water chiming lightly against the steel basin, and set it atop the single gas burner. While it heats, you slide open a wooden cabinet and choose one photograph album, cream cloth cover, pages black with neat white corner mounts. When the kettle begins its quiet whistle, you pour hot water over loose-leaf hojicha in a ceramic cup, the toasty aroma blooming upward. Album open, you turn pages slowly, black and white prints of morning light slanting across empty platforms. A child clasping a lost plush rabbit, reclaimed with tears of joy. The glint of umbrellas stacked in twilight. You sip tea, letting every swallow carry warmth through chest and limbs, and close the album with a gentle pat. The day's final ritual awaits. You draw a furoshiki bundle from the shelf, a fresh yukata and towel, and step into the bathroom where the tiled tub is already half filled from a preset timer. You turn the tap, hot water roaring softly, until steam curls upward like a drifting cloud. Stripping off the day's garments, you ease into the bath, water embracing skin with perfect enveloping heat. Eyes half closed, you listen. The subdued tick of the wall clock, the distant roll of a late train passing beyond the canal, the soft pop of cooling rain against the roof tiles. Your breathing deepens. Thoughts wander to umbrellas reunited, to a love letter ready to change its bearer's life, to pagers now silent in relieved pockets. Each memory floats briefly on the surface of your mind, then sinks into stillness like bathwater settling after a gentle ripple. After a long, quiet soak, you pat yourself dry, don the light yukata, and extinguish the bathroom light. In the bedroom, the futon lies freshly folded. You ease it open, smoothing the quilt with deliberate calm. Through the window's crack, cool spring air drifts in, carrying a faint note of blooming plum blossoms from a neighbor's courtyard. You tuck notebook and pencil on the low bedside shelf, wind your small alarm clock with 3 soft clicks, and slide beneath the quilt. The room darkens when you turn off the lamp, leaving only the distant hush of the city, a hush that feels like a lullaby tailored to your pulse. Breaths lengthen, muscles unclench, eyelids grow heavy. Somewhere beyond, the last evening train sounds its horn, a lone receding call across tracks glistening with mist. Your mind registers it like a signal in day's end. Cargo delivered, stories stored, station resting, before releasing consciousness into a slow, gentle drift. You sense tomorrow's dawn quietly waiting beyond the curtain, eager to carry new umbrellas, misplaced cameras, and forgotten letters into your careful hands. For now, the ledger of the day closes, and sleep settles over you like soft cotton, cool night air, and the rhythmic lull of ever-moving rails. Sleep gathers you gently, like the soft closing of station doors at the end of service. Your mind drifts back to Shinjuku's corridors, but everything inside the dream is bathed in a silver morning glow. The concourse is empty, polished tiles reflecting a light that seems to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. You stand alone, yet feel no trace of loneliness, only an expanding hush that makes space for wonder. The umbrella rack is the first to stir. Clear vinyl canopies rise slowly, unrolling until they resemble translucent jellyfish. They drift upward, hooks glinting as delicate tentacles, ascending until they hover beneath the vaulted ceiling. Each umbrella pulses with a faint blue light, soft and steady as the beat of a quiet heart. You watch them float in gentle circles, shedding droplets that vanish before they touch the floor. A pager buzzes somewhere nearby, but the sound is drawn out, stretched into a warm hum. 3 pagers lift off the counter, their LED screens projecting tiny beams of crimson light. The beams weave together into a thin ribbon that curls through the air like a silk streamer caught in a breeze. The ribbon twists and loops, spelling characters you cannot read, yet instinctively understand. Thank you. Far down the platform, A train appears, silent, gliding without rails, car bodies shimmering like pearlescent shells. It stops, with no hiss, no thud, only a deep hush, as if the air itself has exhaled. One carriage door opens. Inside, rows of passengers sit quietly. You see the Lucian, with his copy of Candide, the schoolgirl cradling her rescued Walkman, the proposal-bound salaryman holding his briefcase close. Each lifts their gaze, smiles, and nods, as though acknowledging the unseen guardian who kept their treasures safe. The train begins to glide again, yet its motion is impossibly slow, almost ceremonial. As it pulls away, the passengers raise their reclaimed items above their heads in silent salute. Umbrellas like lanterns, pagers like red fireflies, a pink obi unfurling in a graceful wave. Behind the glass, their expressions soften into serene gratitude, before the carriage melts into distant glow. In the quiet that follows, your ledger floats from the service desk and opens to a blank page. Numbers and descriptions appear in midnight ink, writing themselves without haste. Camera, umbrella, love letter, pearls. Each entry settles onto the paper like dew settling on nighttime leaves. The pages turn by their own accord, filling one after another, yet never running out, an endless chronicle of items lost, found, and returned. The concourse walls fade until only the sky remains, a great dome of indigo blue, sprinkled with pale lights that flicker into shapes of familiar items, a briefcase constellation, a bent metro map, a softly glowing cassette tape. The stars drift slowly, rearranging themselves in rhythms that recall the platform melodies you hear each day. 4-note sequences arc across the night, and as each melody ends, a cool hush spreads, deeper than silence, carrying the weight of every relieved sigh you have ever witnessed. You step forward and find you are standing on water, perfectly still, reflecting the star-lit sky. The surface gives no ripple beneath your feet. It feels as solid as glass, yet infinitely gentle. A single vinyl umbrella descends toward you, its canopy blooming above like a luminous lotus. It settles in your hand, weightless, closing itself the moment your fingers wrap around its handle. In that small, silent gesture, you feel the day's many thanks fold into one calm heartbeat, steady and warm. The ledger closes. Its cover bears a new title you have never seen, yet recognize at once: Custodian of Small Journeys. It floats back to the desk, now a simple wooden boat at the edge of the mirrored sea, and rests there, awaiting tomorrow's ink. Above, the indigo sky brightens to the soft gray of dawn. The umbrella jellyfish ascend higher, dissolving into the light, while the ribbon of pager glow curls away and fades. The glassy water beneath your feet becomes faintly opaque, warm like milk, blending horizon into sky until all boundaries vanish. You breathe in gently, sensing cherry blossoms in the distant air, though no petals are visible, only the promise of morning. As the dream world thins, you stand still, watching the last train glide into pale brightness. Doors close with silent grace, lights dim, and the train sails into horizonless dawn, carrying every reclaimed story to restful destinations. Your eyelids grow heavier within sleep itself, each blink slower than the last, until even the memory of blinking drifts away. All sounds evaporate into one long, gentle exhale. You float, untethered, cushioned by hush. There are no more pages to turn tonight, only the certainty that morning will come, that green boxes will open to new stories, and that your quiet care will guide each lost thing home. Conscious thought loosens its final knot, and you slip into deep, unbroken rest, carried by the slow, rhythmic echo of distant rails that hum far below the surface of dreaming.